Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission's Business of Sports webinar. My name is Chincy Mouton, and I am the Director of Business Connect at the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission and your moderator for tonight. Tonight's session, Pathways to a Career in Golf, is all about connecting current college students and recent graduates to sports executives in the golf industry to identify potential career paths and to lend advice about breaking into sports. Joining us this evening are Adolfo Agula, Manager of Sales at Legends for the 2023 US Open Championship, Charlie Howe, Championship Director at United States Golf Association for the 2023 US Open Championship, Morris Thomas, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Impact Intern at the United States Golf Association, and Casey Wilkie, Player and Youth Development Director at the Southern California Golf Association Junior Golf Foundation. All right, let's get started by having each panelist give a 1-minute overview of what you do on a daily basis, what is your role and your primary responsibilities. Let's start with Charlie.
Sure. Well, welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. As Chincy mentioned, I'm our championship director for the 23 US Open here at the Los Angeles Country Club, June really 10th or 12th through the 18th. So we've got 3 rounds of practice and then 4 days of championship rounds. But thrilled to be with you. Just to give you a quick background of what I do and give time to everyone else, because I could speak to a lot as I wear a lot of hats. But for the last 15 years, I've called home really the USGA, the United States Golf Association. But the last specific 9 or 10 years have been in my current role, which is really to lead our organization's on-site efforts at our host community. Our host community being the host club, in this case, Los Angeles Country Club. So I'm our direct conduit for all of our departments that are out of our headquarters back in New Jersey, whether that be folks from our communications or broadcast team, those responsible for the actual golf course setup or the rules of golf that are implemented during our championships. You know, they'll communicate to me. I'll coordinate with the on-site team. And then a lot of my heavy focus is with the host club as it relates to the impact of their members on a daily basis. The US Open does impact their daily kind of experience, but we do that in a very thoughtful way to mitigate it being a negative impact and more focus on the excitement of what a US Open brings to not only the city, but their host club and the impact that we can make really in the game of golf and specifically to LA. Again, bringing the US Open back for the first time in 75 years to Los Angeles.
Thank you, Charlie. Adolfo.
Hey, everyone. As Charlie mentioned, thanks everybody for being here today and taking the time. I've been with the US Open here for the last 2 years. I'm currently the manager of sales. So that's overseeing all our premium hospitality. So that includes all our suites as well as our VIP tickets. So my role on a day-to-day basis is really still reaching out to the market with some of our inventory we still have available, and also just being kind of also just a face to all our clients who've already purchased, answering questions, getting them updated. As you can imagine, since it's right around the corner, people are excited, where my tickets at, where my parking is, and things of that nature. Just one thing I just enjoy most about my role is just interacting with just the Los Angeles market and the individuals that are really excited about the upcoming championship.
Hi, everyone. I'm Casey Wilkie, Director of Player and Youth Development for the Southern California Golf Association. So a little bit different than Charlie and Adolfo there, working at the USGA, but I oversee programming for our entire foundation. So our mission is to create an inclusive community for junior golfers on and beyond the golf course. So I oversee all of our programming that we do year round in underserved and underreached communities for kids, where we reach more than 2,000 kids and truly creating golfers. So my role includes programming. I'm in a lot of meetings of managing people, but work with all of the.
She's breaking up a little bit.
Like you're saying enough. Oh, am I back?
You're back.
Sorry about that. Interesting enough, I am at a board meeting today, so at Pechanga Resort, so get to play a lot of golf in my role as well, which is always a great perk.
Very good. Morris?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to be a part of this panel. My name is Morris Thomas. I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Impact Intern for the USGA. My position is in supporting my Assistant Director, DE&I, Camille Ramos, and my main job is to help support the Pathways internship program that's getting individuals from different communities into golf, and basically supporting other initiatives from the D&I from in-house, but also the boat ride internships and the long and short-term internships as well. But that is my main job, and I am signed on as an impact intern for a full year and one of those impact internships as well.
Thank you, Morris. I want to say if any students has questions throughout this panel discussion, you could drop your questions in the Q&A format and we'll answer your questions at the end of the session. All right, let's get started. So let's talk about the 2023 US Open in Los Angeles and how you and your organization are involved. Charlie, your role is to manage the entire event, and you have been working in Los Angeles for the last year or so preparing. Tell us how your experience in Los Angeles has been and what can we expect in June?
No, thanks, Chincy. First of all, I've been in Los Angeles for over a year, as Dolph mentioned as well, 2 years that he's been working and selling in hospitality. But as you can imagine, and as you know, LA is no secret to major, big time sporting events. And that's where Chincy and Karina and Catherine Schlossman and their whole team do a great job of attracting those events, as well as serving as the organizing committee, making sure that those organizations like the USGA, have a great experience in LA. I've loved living in Los Angeles. I think the culture of this city is like no other place that I've been, certainly from the sports perspective, to have really every major league having 2 sports teams here in your backyard. And just think about how fortunate it would be to grow up in a city with so many professional sports teams and so many unbelievable, world-class athletes that you could see as a fan, but also as you're looking into getting in the sports industry, all the opportunities that can be available. Certainly, as I mentioned, we haven't had the US Open in LA in 75 years. LA has been host in the Pacific Palisades even last week with the Genesis, a PGA Tour event. Again, that's hosted every single year in LA. So you're not unfamiliar with golf, but from the US Open perspective, we've been giving out our trophy since 1895, and this will be the 123rd playing of the national championship. And it surprises me that it had only been here, if you think about it, for the first time in 1948, and it's taken 75 years to have it again. So a lot of work to do. There's no playbook for us. We can't say, and there's no playbook, and there's no permanent infrastructure that we get to have, like a SoFi Stadium or Crypto.com arena. We have to build, our team does, and we actually started construction of some of the facilities that, again, our event's not until June, but we started even this week with building some of the facilities to host our fans and our players, corporate clients, which Adolfo is so close to as far as that sales process. But LA's been terrific. You laugh with Southern California, and everyone probably thinks the meteorologist has the easiest job in the world. He just gets up and says it's sunny. But living here long enough, I know that not only does he can't just say it's sunny. He's got to give a coastal temperature, an inland temperature, a desert temperature, a mountain temperature. So I thought that was funny, just as I learned here from moving from the East Coast. But LA is an incredible city. I think you're so fortunate, again, to grow up in a city that has the exposure of not only the sports local, but the majors, whether it be a golf major, whether it be a Super Bowl or a college football playoff. I know WrestleMania is upcoming in a few months at SoFi, so that's exciting as well. But what can you expect from a US Open? We'll have 156 of the best players in the world, again, competing for a national championship. We'll have fans that get to visit Los Angeles Country Club, be broadcast to over 190 countries. We'll broadcast it in over 20 different languages. We'll be on television over 75 hours during the course of the week. And when you think about that week long, which our event is, I have 25 million viewers, in aggregate, that will tune in to not only Los Angeles Country Club, but the community in LA. So in addition to what we'll have on the golf course is we'll have a fan fest locally. So if you don't have a ticket, you can still experience really the excitement of what the US Open brings. And we're working with the team over at Westfield Mall in Century City. And an onboarding an agency to help us market and brand that. And we're excited to, again, open the gates well above and beyond just, to the Los Angeles Country Club where we want to need a ticket. But get to work with some fantastic people like Casey and her team with the Southern California Golf Association. They're what we call an allied golf association. We have those throughout the country, but specifically with the SCGA on our focus in programming and giving back to this community. You'll see a sizable donation that's made public over the next month that the USGA is donating to, really along with SCGA and LACC, the host club, to make sure that we provide and protect this game and provide opportunity for those who enjoy it or being introduced to the game for the first time. So again, we couldn't be more excited and just honestly honored to be and call Los Angeles home for our US Open come June.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate all that you're doing to help bring this championship to life. All right, Adolfo, you are tasked with selling corporate packages for the tournament. These are big dollar packages. Can you walk us through your sales cycle and highlight a few success stories?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a method to the madness and getting a hold of people. So when you're selling kind of these high premium suites and experiences, I really try to just create a list and target some of the top companies that are local in the area. And I use just a number of resources that are made available. Some free ones like LinkedIn is a great source. We have another option called Zoom Info that helps us, find people's email addresses and direct numbers that we use. So through that avenues, I do intro emails. I make a connection on LinkedIn if I find them. Also making phone calls. I think that's something that people shy away from, and a phone call really changes the narrative on where a conversation is and moves things along. So that's one fear that I've gotten over really early in my career, was just picking up the phone and smiling and dialing and getting your message across. And I really just do those steps to different C-level executives until I'm able to set a meeting and then kind of navigate the conversation from there and presenting and making sure it's a valuable resource, what they're doing with us, and they're able to use it on their end for the right reasons. One story that kind of resonates with me during this specific this last year or two that I've been selling these high-end products was I was reading the LA Business Journal. If you guys are familiar with it, go to visit the LA Business Journal and stay in tune with what's happening in your market. There's a financial institution that was growing in our area. I was reading through it and I found the person's name who was the market president. I found his contact information. I shot him a note. And funny enough, as soon as he got my email, he gave me a call and said, "Hey, are you hacking me or something?" I was literally just sending a note to somebody in my office about this event and us getting involved. So that turned out to be, one of the biggest sales on the project. So I'm just fortunate that, doing just research and really finding the right person to get in contact with could really go a long way. But that's really one of my favorite ones that I could think of.
Thanks, Adolfo. All right, Casey, you work on behalf of the Southern California Golf Association and make an impact in our community every day. How does an event like the US Open help your organization's community impact strategy?
As Charlie kind of alluded to, we are in a rather large we're the charitable partner of the US Open this year at LACC, and so we're in a rather large fundraising campaign this year. So it's going to be a significant donation that goes directly back into the SoCal golf community. Hopefully the US Open, which it will, is going to energize Southern California golf and ignite this energy that around creating new golfers, which is kind of our role in doing so and intentionally doing so in underserved and underreached communities. But the campaign that we're in will enable us to continue serving Southern California youth, growing our programming to more youth, reaching more kids in order to really spread what we do and the good for the game of golf. I think generally speaking, there's going to be a lot of people excited about the US Open in town. But I think it also gives opportunities to those that are already playing golf. We have a lot of opportunities to partner with Charlie and his team to get kids out onto LACC premises and out to view the event, many of which are going to be volunteering and being standard bearers to give them the front view of the tournament that weekend. But it's going to be a great opportunity to energize, like I said, the kids that are currently playing golf, and then hopefully gain the interest of more kids and adults, to that matter, of getting excited about playing golf.
All right. Thank you, Casey. Morris, you have a great story, and your role with the USGA is a special one. Please tell us about your experience in the Lee Elders internship program last year and how that has impacted your career trajectory.
Thank you, Chincy. Yes, so the USGA Pathways internship program was previously called the Lee Elder internship, and I was lucky enough to be a part of that internship last year at the US Open in Brookline, Massachusetts for the 2022 US Open. I didn't have a background in golf, just for all of you. I golfed for 1 year in high school, and it was basically just as a extra because the coach needed an extra body. And I really applied for this internship really with no expectation. Because from where I'm from being from Stockton, California, being in the area where not a lot of people like myself, golf, we didn't consider golf to be a sport that we were welcomed at. So being in school and receiving the email to apply for this internship, I applied. 25 students were selected out of about 300 applicants. And like I said, I was lucky enough to be a part of that. During that experience, I have a background in operations in basketball and so on. So I didn't know what to expect going to the US Open. But when I got there, I learned about all the positions that were in golf, which you wouldn't expect, whether it be comms, broadcasting, player relations, media, HR. There are so many positions that I wasn't aware of. And kind of that experience itself drew me into the love for not just golf, but for the USGA and their vision, especially for bringing individuals from different underrepresented communities, such as myself, to one place to teach them about everything, all the positions within golf. And we were lucky enough to be a part of panels every single day, networking events where we met leaders from across the Massachusetts area, even around Boston as well. And it was just a life-changing experience. And from that experience, like I said, I didn't ever think about going into golf. I made connections with individuals there. I had no idea that the US Open was going to be in LA the following year, which is this year. And I moved to LA even before this. And through those connections, I was able to speak with Camille, my manager, and kind of work my way into this position to where I'm at now. And now it's a complete 360 where I'm the one going to different places and meeting people from different states and traveling and really recruiting them to this program, this 10-day internship, which probably we'll talk about later. And it's something that I value, and it's personal for me just because of how much it changed my life in the trajectory of my career path. And I do hope to stay in golf and hopefully sway some other individuals to take a look at the golf industry and with an amazing company like the USGA.
Thank you, Morris. You are a prime example of taking advantage of an internship opportunity, so thank you. All right, so sports is an attractive industry, and the majority of people on this call today are interested in how they can get their foot in the door and learn about opportunities in the business. Charlie, if you were hiring, what is the first thing that you or your HR department look for in a resume? And do you need to be a golfer to work in the golf industry?
Well, as you heard from Morris, you don't need to be a golfer to be in the golf industry. And I can also personally attest that I was 21 years old the first time I played 18 holes of golf. So I grew up playing baseball, basketball, soccer, and was fortunate to play soccer a little bit in college. And golf wasn't at the top of my list. I thought I wanted to go into it and be specific about soccer, and I'm sure glad I have really good mentors and people around me that said, maybe you should consider, opening up the opportunities available to you. If you focus just on soccer, you might miss all the jobs that might be in, again, golf, basketball, baseball, you name it. So fortunate to get into the industry with just taking a chance on golf, but it's certainly one of my passions now, and it's been turned out into be a career of 15 years and counting. One of the first things that we look for, quite frankly, on a resume is it doesn't have to be golf. Well, we want to make sure that relevant, whether your interest or the skills that you obtain, they can be done through volunteerism as well. And USGA is a not-for-profit organization ourselves. So, if it's not accomplished of your experience in your day-to-day job, volunteering for an organization like the SCGA might be an opportunity for you to gain that relevant experience for a future job in golf. Maybe that's not your main focus. So I would encourage you, and we always look to see that kind of volunteerism, community give back, because that's what our organization is. Being a not-for-profit, any revenue driven from the great sales that Adolfo and the team does all goes back into the game, junior programming, throughout the country. One of the biggest things that I think make entry-level really positions or those that are successful with our organization or in golf is really the time management skills that they have. So I like to see someone who's been busy and balanced a lot, whether it was in college, whether it was in their early career. The more that they do, and the more organized they have been, it comes across because the sports industry is just such a high pace, highly driven individuals that ultimately are the most successful at it. So you have a balanced resume, have great experience of working in different things, that's great. But again, I would just remind everyone on the call that if you don't have a golf background, don't get set on that, because you can achieve some of the relevant experience working or volunteering for a group like the SCGA locally. The First Tee is in Greater Pasadena is also another great volunteer opportunity in golf. But then again, even if without any golf, having a great resume that shows your time management, your organization skills, your willingness to kind of achieve and work hard, all that's going to come across on an interview.
Thank you, Charlie. Adolfo, what are specific skill sets and traits needed to work in sales?
Working in sales, it's almost like a sport, right? Like one, you have to stay on top of kind of your pitch and knowing your products. You have to be persistent, honestly calling the same lead multiple times, staying on top of certain clients. You also have to be committed to this. And how I mentioned is reading books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and just trying to get better at your skill. And also the effort's, one of the biggest things is if you're not sending out emails, sending out messages, making phone calls, you're not going to move the needle as far as your numbers go, and closing deals, being disciplined and staying on task. Whatever you set for yourself for each day of what you want to accomplish, making sure you get that done. And then one that took me a while to get comfortable with but it's really challenging an objection or a complaint, and really digging into the client and understanding what the reason is behind a no. Is it no because they don't know, KNOW, and really getting to that reason and getting over the hump and getting them comfortable to see if it's a good fit to work with us or if it really isn't. And sometimes it's tough to let go of the good leads, but sometimes you have to just know when to move on, so that way you could continue and reach your goals. And then for the sales that you do make, staying connected with those people, because you never know, what door they're going to open for you, who they're going to introduce you to down the road. But those are just a couple that kind of just came to mind.
Thank you. Morris, does an advanced degree help you in your particular line of work?
So I definitely think that having an advanced degree, it does help in a sense, but I don't think that it's mandatory. A lot of individuals who I've met and who are even superiors of mine, they don't have an advanced degree. But just like anything else, you get what you put in. So I can say that it did help me learn how to network better. It made me really sell myself kind of in Adolfo, like in a better way. They teach you. And my program at University of San Francisco, there's a little plug there. They really taught me how to carry myself. And really how to get, when you get into an organization, what to expect and so on. So an advanced degree does help just because it prepares you for what's going to happen. But just like anything, even if you have a bachelor's degree or an AA, or you don't have a job, you're going to have to learn at your position as you go. So the only thing that an advanced degree does do for you, specifically for mine, which was in sports management, was that it just helped me to network better, to open my eyes to different things that I didn't see before, and also to have reliable resources such as my professors and also the students who I also went to school with as well.
Casey, what is the #1 tip that you can give to a young professional that will help them make a career in the sports industry?
I think we've all heard it, but it's networking. Networking. Like, get in front of more people, learn about what they do, take them to coffee and see who they know and who they can connect you with to have more meetings and learn. My backstory, I knew a friend of a friend who worked at the SCJ, and I was still in college at the time, and she asked me what I was going to do after college, and I had no idea. And she asked me, she said, why don't you take a look at the USGA PGA boat ride internship and see if it interests you. I did not grow up playing golf, so similar to Morris and Charlie there. I played every other sport, but not golf, because I didn't think it was for me. And so I ended up applying for the internship, and I got it. And I started 2 days after I graduated from USC, and here I am 10 years later in a director role. So it's pretty cool. Again, to stress the importance that you can be in the golf industry and not be a golfer. I've since then, grown a passion for golf and enjoy it very much. So, like I said earlier, play golf today for work. So I think networking is the biggest part. I wouldn't be in my role today if it weren't for networking, and I've met some really awesome people along the way and have great connections outside of just the SCJ. A lot of people play golf, so it's a great opportunity to network on the golf course. Great excuse to get out there.
Yep, I think everyone's nodding their head in agreement, networking. All right, now this question is for everyone on the panel. When it comes to interviewing, what is one impressive thing you've seen, or also unimpressive, when it comes to punctuality, communication, or even advice for virtual interviews? Let's start with Charlie.
Yeah, I think what you like to see is someone who presents themselves. So I think one, piece of advice I got, a long time ago when I was first interviewing was, even if I wasn't even on a video screen, which back then I really didn't have available, I would have a coat and tie on regardless. I think it just brings that professionalism when you prepare yourself so that you take it seriously, and that comes across even on a phone, even if it's not on Zoom. But I think just having done their homework on our organization is really helpful for us too. The golf is a busy industry as far as all the different entities and organizations that are involved. So of course, knowing that the difference between the PGA and the USGA is important. And when you say the negative, when someone maybe says we're the PGA or the PGA Tour, look, I don't take it to heart. It happens. My own aunt and uncle at Thanksgiving may mess that up. But when it's someone interviewing for the position, I hope they've done their homework, and that's what I kind of take away from a negative that can certainly be avoided.
I would emphasize what Charlie said. I think knowing the job that you're also applying for, it's not the best feeling in the world to walk into an interview and hear the interviewee asking what the job is and asking clarity questions at that point. Do your research. There's a lot going on social media, on the internet. Like, it's a great resource. Do the research about the organization you're applying for, ask questions, and let us know that you have done your research.
Adolfo.
Be early. Just for your interview, be early and be ready. How Charlie said, dress to impress. And then aside from all that, one of the things too is, be ready to move, just because, sports jobs, they're all across the country. So, if you're living in California and you're interviewing for the New York Mets and you get the job, be ready to move across the country. Understand where you're interviewing, and if you have the capabilities to do those things.
Morris.
So a couple of things. First is if they are asking for a cover letter, I would recommend doing a personalized cover letter, because I think that we can definitely see when individuals just paste, a name on there with no personalization. Say what the position is and say why you're interested in it, and bring some personal info into that. I think it makes it really enjoyable, especially after reading through so many. Those things really stand out to us. And also following up with the meeting after you do your resume as well, because no matter what you think, if your email is there, we've read it, then we kind of put two things together, and I kind of feel like that's been really helpful in that as well. The bad is not showing up when you set up a meeting and follow up. So show up if you set up a meeting with somebody in the job, show up on time, as everybody said before, and just show up. That's the biggest thing.
All right. Let's talk about the golf industry specifically. What are the best pathways to a career in golf? Charlie, what advice would you give a student or a recent graduate who is interested in working in the golf industry?
Well, I think Adolfo mentioned that the main thing is the flexibility that you have in looking at the landscape of all the different opportunities. Of course, the PGA Tour has an event here at the Genesis or at Riviera called the Genesis, which the Tiger Woods Foundation runs. So they have a number of jobs available on an annual basis. The US Open has a number of internships available, and we're getting towards the end of that hiring cycle because we're really getting into ramping up. But also we have a USGA Pathways internship program, which Morris could speak to. But the biggest, kind of most thing you should take by is that flexibility of being able to move and understand that networking piece for us. The flexibility you have, as well as the network that you grow and pressing in your first entry level job. Like if I have an intern that does a terrific job for us here in Los Angeles, sometimes I'm going to do everything that I can to keep them internally. And maybe even if it's them being flexible and working in another department for a little bit, I want to retain the best talent that we can. With that said, it's a small sports industry, not only in golf, but across the whole landscape. So I hear from friends that I have within my own network from the PGA of America, who do the PGA Championship, who do the Ryder Cup. There's numerous PGA Tour events all throughout the country. There's even the Masters, so Augusta National in Georgia. We all talk to each other, and I can't tell you how many interns that I would have loved to have kept that I would more or less recommend to those organizations to see if they have opportunities. So we've seen someone, leave a long-term internship for us, immediately starting another one just because the timing works out for the next major or the next tournament. So you being flexible as an individual to move a little bit, but also understanding that sometimes it is about timing. We all talk, so making that impression, because I've been on the receiving end as many good interns and as many good applicants that other people have had that have impressed them where it just didn't work out. So it's a small industry, always leave a good impression, working harder than maybe your peers so that you can elevate yourself and give yourself the best opportunity to. So you make it challenging for me to say, gosh, we got to figure out a way to keep, Morris Thomas around. Which we did, by the way.
We did. All right, Casey, how can we use golf for good in the community?
I think golf is an interesting sport. You could be the best golfer in the world and you can never have played golf before, and it could be a fun round of 18 holes or 9. And you can also be 80 years old or 8 years old and play a round of golf together. I think that's the unique thing about golf and makes it inclusive to everyone. And I think golf for good in the community, I think being intentional with welcoming people in is really key in the game of golf. I think, as I alluded to earlier, I didn't think it was a sport for me, but I think ultimately being exposed to it led me to open doors for understanding that it is available to me and I don't have to be the greatest golfer to play. But I think people like to say golf teaches you life lessons. I like to get away from that, given my role here at the SCJ. It's really intentional coaching and people who you're playing with who teach you those life lessons. So builds great relationships with people. You can play 18 holes and really get to know somebody, or you can play 9, like I said. But it's those relationships that really transcend just the round of golf, the 4 hours that you're spending on the golf course, that make golf good for the community and beyond.
Thank you. Adolfo, what is the biggest misperception about your job?
That I get to play golf all the time. I think Casey, me and you need to swap jobs for a week or so, and I could go play for a little while. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I guess salespeople may have a bad rap sometimes, for just being salespeople and constantly calling or just being nagging. But it's always nice when you do have that, when you do have those thoughts and someone says, "Oh, thank you so much for following up with me. I've been meaning to get back to you." Those are always rewarding. Another thing is that actually working in sales could be very, very financially rewarding. Like it could be one of the most rewarding jobs in all of sports. And what you put into it, you get out of. I mean, for the jobs like this, you get paid commissions or bonuses, and based on what's available, how hard you work and how much you sell, you get rewarded for that. Also, too, just meeting professionals in the city and from all types of businesses, manufacturers, private equity, owners of sports teams that you get to talk to. I would never in my life picture, myself talking to the people I get to talk to and hang out with on a day-to-day basis. Also too is just how fulfilling it is to find a company that you really want to sell. You go through the whole process, you get a hold of them, you sell them, and then you kind of just see them all the way through till they get to actually experience what they purchased and making that connection and staying connected with them.
Absolutely. Morris, tell us about the 2023 Pathways program and how that program could impact students or recent graduates.
So I know I've kind of spoken about how it affected me, but the Pathways internship is not your typical internship. You're not working at a merchandise tent. You're not working in the comms. You're not in a specific role. This program is from June 10th through June 19th. It takes place during the US Open. It's only a 10-day internship, which is awesome for individuals who want that flexibility. It's not, like I said, it's not your typical internship. So you're not going to be going to those jobs. You're going to be going to panel discussions with individuals from around the Los Angeles area. With leadership that can be from different organizations, not just in golf. Hearing about experiences from individuals and how they got to that position, and from the USGA as well. And the real amazing thing is that, thank you, Corinne, is that from the 10 days, you do get the individuals who are not just from this area, they get flown over. There are 20 interns that we're going to be selecting for the program, and they get paid for the 5 days that they're there. They will be housed at Loyola Marymount for those 10 days that they're with us. We provide, like I said, they get paid for the week. You will be shuttled to and from Loyola Marymount to the to LACC, and also to any other places that we need you to be to attend those panels and so on. It's honestly going to be one of those life-changing experiences. And what I can say is that it kind of opens your eyes to a whole new industry, especially for me. I had tunnel vision, and I thought I was always going to work in basketball operations, football, or another sport similar to that. When I went to the USGA as a re-elder intern, it kind of changed the whole trajectory. And I know I answered it in my previous answer, but it just kind of gives you a different perspective of what goes on and how something like this goes on. And it's every year. So for me, I recommend that y'all all apply. The applications do close this Friday, technically. We probably will close it on Sunday, February the 26th, and we will have offers extended by March 13th. There is an application link there, and if you do want more information, you can reach out to me at any time as well. We had our final virtual session, but I wouldn't mind doing a personal one for anybody who is interested in it as well.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Morris. We have one last question, and this is for everyone on the panel. What is something that a leader told you that has helped you gain success in your career? Let's start with Casey.
Good question. I think it's the way you show up. And I think that is, my manager has told me it's about how you show up. It's the way you dress, it's your presence, it's what you say and how you say, it's your attitude, and really helps you gain success and meet new people, but also be seen by other leaders as a leader. So I think it's about your presence and how you show up.
All right, thank you. Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest takeaways that I recall is just a reminder that time goes by so quickly. Time flies. So I turned 39 next month. I swear yesterday I was 20 yesterday. And it's fast forward and I have this long career. So I think the takeaway there is just the consistency in your effort on a daily basis. You don't want to have really one day in advance. Sorry, I had some traffic moving by me, but one day you're going to regret if you don't reach your potential. So making sure you bring that effort every single day, because I think the difference in really, really successful people is the consistency of that effort versus someone who just has efforts in moments or when they feel like a good day. So just bringing that effort every day, I think ensures that success. And again, don't put it off till tomorrow, because you'll turn around and time will have passed. And again, you don't want to be in that position where you regret not living up to your potential.
Thank you. Morris.
Very hard to go after Charlie. A lot of what I've heard, it's very true what he said, and kind of from my professor that I learned, super basic, and it's take a chance. Take a chance on yourself while you can as well. You never know until you try it, and you don't want to think about all the regret from not doing something as the years go by. Because Charlie alluded to, it's going to go by in the blink and you're just going to look back and say, I wish I would have done it. So take the chance now, do whatever you want to do, and go at it full throttle, and don't regret anything. At the end of the day, you don't want to leave anything on the table.
Adolfo.
I don't want to repeat anything anyone has said, but I'm having memories of some mentors, but one of the ones that sticks with me pretty frequently, and it's really easy, is closed mouths don't get fed. So really just making contact, reaching out to your VPs in the company, even the other professionals, and sitting on meetings with them, and just staying connected.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. At this time, we'll open the questions up to the audience. And I already have some questions starting to roll in. So let's see here. This one is for Morris. What are some of the other action items in respect to DEI that USGA are doing on a large scale other than the Pathways program?
So we are actually working on a few things, and I actually have it written, and I can kind of name you some of the initiatives that we have. So we have developed ERGs, which are employee resource groups from within the organization. This has become a big thing kind of in the DE&I space. We have Parents Connect and Women's Connect, and we're hoping to build other ones as well, since this is so new. And how we created this is that we actually formed a DE&I leadership team. And this team is responsible for creating different initiatives. We came up with 9 initiatives previous, and now we're assigning people to actually put those initiatives through. And the really awesome thing about that is that we have a leader in Mike Wan, who really believes in our team. And those are just some of the initiatives that we're working on right now. I can name another few, like expanding rules workshops in Spanish, expanding the pool of diverse championship entrants, and not just the Pathways internship, but we have the Boat Ride internship, where it's similar, where we're trying to get people from underrepresented communities into those allied golf associations to work. And those are just some of the things, initiatives that we have going on for DE&I. Is
there a website where you list all of your DEI efforts, or anywhere we can find that information?
I don't believe not as of right now, just because we're still working through it, but I believe in the future, it's something that will possibly come to be.
Okay, thank you. Casey, as someone who comes from communities where golf has no presence, is there any direct effort from SCGA to introduce kids of Black and Brown communities to golf?
Yes, when I talk about our intentionality around providing programming in underserved and underreached communities, it is in communities that do not offer programming or there's a lack of junior golf programming. 70% of the kids we reach are Latino, where we have programming throughout Southern California, but specifically in Southeast LA, the Norwalk, Pico area, Southwest LA at Maggie Hathaway Golf Course, San Fernando Valley, Orange County, and Riverside. So yes, it is intentional for us to create golfers and enable golfers that already exist, but more so to create golfers that maybe otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do so, and ultimately to lower the barriers to entry. So we have affordable and accessible programming. We provide every kid with equipment, provide them the opportunity to purchase equipment. We offer financial aid, 90% discount. So we give every kid a uniform, role models and mentors hired from the community so that they have people that they can look up to and relate to, whether it's how they grew up or what the community is facing. But yes, we're very intentional. I think that is our mission work, is to create golfers in underserved and underreached communities.
All right, thank you. Charlie, from your experiences, what are some key characteristics that make individuals successful, and also standout team members that you are and continue to be motivated to work with in the world of sports?
Yeah, I think people that are eager to continue to grow. They're just trying to learn more. So when I first started, had an internship opportunity with the USGA back in 2008. It was 6 months long. For about 5 months and 2 weeks, it was focused on operational vendor management, working with all the different, again, vendors, suppliers that we have for the US Open. But when the US Open week came, the operations job was done, more or less. It was now just, you got to press play on all your hard work. So I used that 1 week really to tap a few people on the shoulder and say, I'd love to know about, what goes into the public safety and parking and transportation. Again, not what I was hired for as an intern, but, I did that. Some other interns didn't. I was able to continue really a full-time job with the USGA. Not anything to do with that 5 months and 2 weeks operations. I was hired full-time the next year to do parking, transportation, and security with the next US Open. And truly, it was just, I had shown an interest and spent a week kind of immersed in during the championship when otherwise my job was quote unquote done. So again, I think that initiative to wanting to grow, wanting to experience other facets within the organization, no matter who the organization is with, is incredibly important. But I also think just being a team player, I mean, it's so cliche in sports, but major events, sporting events, there's so many moving parts. People get pulled in a lot of different directions. So when you see your teammates that can use your help, and you have the ability or bandwidth to do so, pay it forward. They'll return it. And that's just how I've seen it work. And the most successful people in the industry really help each other within their network, recommend great hires, and are just continually looking to grow.
All right, thank you. Adolfo, what was the service you used to find emails?
It's called Zoom Info.
Zoom Info.
Once you have an account, you could also download the Google Chromecast extension that populates on the side of your window. So whenever you're on a certain website, you hit the Zoom Info logo, it comes across, and then it'll populate with, how many employees, all the C-level executives, phone numbers, how much revenue they make per year, things of that nature.
Okay. This question is from Morris. They've said, I have been keeping my eye on possible intern roles with USGA, and I have noticed most commence from March onwards. My particular summer window for an internship from my MBA course at UCR is June through September 2023. Are there intern opportunities with the USGA and your team for June onwards?
Absolutely. I don't envy that schedule anymore. So I will talk. We do have some short-term internships that do start probably not in June, but I believe in May. And they do stretch a little bit after that. And I think for our internships, some of them are a little bit flexible depending on where you're at. So I would recommend reaching out to myself or reaching out to Joe Jackson about particular roles that you're interested in so that we can reach out to those leaders in management and see if you would be a good fit for that time. But I would also recommend, like where Casey's at with SCGA, they may have something for you as well. Other allied golf associations, and also which are boat right internships, and and our short-term championship roles as well.
All right,
Yeah.
this question, oh, sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
I was just going to add on to what Morris shared. I mean, it's easy to think of the US Open of what the USGA does, but we do have 15 championships every year, and US Open's in June, but some are later in the calendar. So keeping an eye on those opportunities, whether it's our Women's Open or our Senior Open or some of our amateur championships are important. The timeline might work, but flexibility is important. As Morris mentioned, some of the interns that we are hiring that have a May start, not every university has the same graduation date or the same semesters in. So we've been able to maintain some flexibility. And as Morris shared, just getting in touch with him and Joe Jackson so that they can get in touch with the hiring managers. We can see what kind of flexibility we have.
Thank you.
I'll also add, we have 3 USGA boat ride internships open at the SCJ here, and several part-time positions and a few full-time. So there's definitely opportunities. And like Charlie Morris said, I think most employers are very flexible with start dates. If the candidate is right, they're going to flex to make sure that they retain and recruit the right talent. So I'd say apply, even if maybe you're not qualified for the job or overqualified. There's opportunities. If you apply for an internship position and really you're more qualified, you never know, the organization might see that and want to retain you and might create a job.
Okay, this question is for anyone on the panel. How do you see new technology, Web3, AI, etc., affecting the sports industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'll say something on that. So specifically to AI, Google has an app. It's called copy.ai. And sometimes I use it as a kind of, it's free. So anytime I want to type some sort of marketing material to reach out to a certain amount of people, I go on there and I kind of copy my message, and there's different kind of tones you could set it to, and it'll rewrite your messaging for you. So that's a tool that I've been using, and that's like as far as I go, as far as using AI. But yeah, if you guys want to use it to, clean up your resumes or clean up any emails or things of that nature, I would use that website. It's called copy.ai, and it's free.
All right, thanks, Adolfo. All right,
I would just add too, from a technology and just in sports industry, we're getting so much data and analytics of what our fans like, whether it's what they're liking in social, their ticket buying experience, their experience on site. There's a lot of different companies, organizations that are, really that's just changing, evolving. We're keeping up with, getting a lot more, technology and intel that's shared with us to better our fans' experience. And then with USGA, we have the equipment and performance, really the conforming standards in the game of golf with how golf balls are made and how drivers and golf clubs, part of our organization outside of even running national championships is doing the research and development on that. And it'll be amazing to see. And I'm sure we'll have golf balls or golf clubs that are made even using 3D printing and other things in the future. So tough to guess what it will be like, but we just continue to evolve and look how it can benefit us as an organization.
This is our last question. Can we connect with you all on LinkedIn or even have a contact email?
Yes, of course. I'll speak for myself. You can certainly contact me on LinkedIn. As mentioned, my name is Charlie Howe, and if you looked up USGA, I should come up right up.
All right. So hopefully everyone takes advantage of LinkedIn. It's a great resource and tool. So make sure you do connect with everyone on the panel today. And then Karina, I'll have you pull up the last slide. One of the things that we want to promote is our professional development program by LASEC. So applications are open for the LASEC Professional Development Program Summit, taking place June 12th through June 16th. The summit helps prepare students for a successful career, and it includes professional development training, panel discussions with sports executives, a formal mentor program, and an opportunity to volunteer for the US Open. This year, we are partnering with the USGA Pathways program to provide joint networking and professional development. The summit is free to all accepted students, and applications are open through March 31st.
Yeah, Chintzy, I would just add for the group, there's an individual who went through this program last year. He doesn't know it yet, but he'll get an offer here shortly for one of our interns. And again, when we're speaking to things on you can add to your resume that maybe you don't have professional experience in, getting involved with a program like this, having that on your resume, it's transferable and relatable to maybe some future jobs. So I would certainly take advantage. These are the type things that you want to be able to add to your resume.
Absolutely. And you can find out more information about our program on lasec.net. If you click on Get Involved and then click on Professional Development Program, all the information in the application is there. If you guys have any questions about the program, you can email me at cmouton@lasec.us. All right. And that concludes today's panel discussion. I want to thank all of our panelists. You guys were great. Appreciate your time today. And thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.